Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about exactly how to change out your rib blade to a crosscut blade. And I know it's a rib blade. How? Take a look. You got very few teeth over here, so that's a sign. As far as you're working with Festools and your wood cutting blades, that's the key. Let's go, I'll show you. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is a Festool. So, it's one of the many Festools that are in existence. This particular one is the T55. It is a saw that's pretty much end of life. I got it off of a buddy of mine. He already has the, I think, T65, if I'm not mistaken, TS65. It is the newer one that runs primarily on battery. This one is corded, and this contraption that you're seeing here, they're called Festool Systainers. So this houses the saw, the bottom a vacuum cleaner. And I'm sure you've seen the videos around. They just grab some of these or multiple of these and just stack them as high as they can go, just to show the rigidity and how stable the system is. Turn to open, and you have your saw sitting in here. 9 times out of 10 when you buy it, this is exactly what it's going to look like. You got your power cord. You have a couple of clamps that they need to go back. The power cord goes behind you guys. I'll show you that later. And this is the saw monstrosity. This is the saw. It's not a monstrosity, but it is a great piece of work. In the container, you're gonna have, padding for your handle. You're gonna have a diagram of how you're supposed to lay it out. Oh, let's move this out of the way. You're gonna have a diagram of how you're supposed to lay it out. Let me show you a little closer. So you have a diagram of how you can lay out your saws, I believe this is a cut guide, a couple of braces in the back. In here, they don't exist because it's a shop. This used to be something for a shop, and it was used heavily. So we still have the guide in here. We don't have that brace or clamp in the back here, but we do have how the saw is supposed to be laid in. So if the saw goes in this way, let's see, it will not fit properly, just because there's things that are bumping things that don't need to be covered, and all that goes in this way. That way all these teeth fit in perfectly with the inlay that we have here, like so. And here, let's bring this camera closer. Right? So, okay, so we have the grid pattern here, the teeth essentially of the saw that lays in there. You have other guides, and everything sits where it's supposed to sit. If you flip this around, you're not going to have a good seating, and chances are, you're going to travel with your saw and things are going to happen. It's going to bump around. Not necessarily void your warranty, but that's a different conversation for another day. But we do have guides here, saws that are marked yellow, others are blue, others are red, all depict the kind of material that you're going to be using, or that you can use that's ideal for the saw, let me put it that way. So this has a yellow marking. They all have this green ring, but this one has a yellow marking. All the ones that I have are yellow marked. That just means it's for wood. If it's blue marked, it's for metal. If it's red marked, I think that's multi, but I've primarily used wood. I've seen the metal, but I have not seen red in use at all. But they all provide different teeth, different teeth widths, let's put it that way. And the finer the tooth, the coarser the material. So the finer the teeth, like you see here, the finer the teeth is from the harder the material. Metal, this might be some sort of not PVC, Formica, that kind of material. This is just, your normal 2x4s, plywood, stuff like that. All right, and you have your your tracks. You have your tracks on this side. Down here, we have the other things in the Festool lineup. You have your MFT, your multifunctional table. That's the extension. This is something else to do with the MFT. This is a different sustainer, and that's the vacuum that sits down here. This is one of them, just one of them. There are many, and over time they've evolved to have, right now this one's a HEPA. They have finer granularities of materials that they can pick up. So that's something to keep in mind whenever you're looking at this particular line of tool. I showed you this before. This ordinarily does not come with this cover here. It usually shows up like that. Let's zoom out, give you a better look. Usually comes with this place not covered. This is an aftermarket. It's from Tool Curve. You can buy that to cover this, and that just essentially helps with dust management. And that's another great feature about this. This is why the Festool is kind of sort of top of the line. It has excellent dust management, dust collection. When the saw is being used, everything is sucked through here. Everything's sucked through here. You'll get some random pieces fly around, but the bulk, like 99%, maybe 99.5% of the dust is going to be sucked in through here, through your hose, and into your vacuum cleaner. That's why they recommend whenever you get this, whenever you get any other products, get the vacuum cleaner that goes, not necessarily a vacuum cleaner that goes along with it, just get a vacuum cleaner from them. You will not regret it. All right, and having this cover on it, that just goes to manage your dust even better. All right, so the purpose of this video is just to show you how easily it is to switch out this blade for a new one, because with all the materials that you see laid out up top here, Festool recommends that you use one of the saws for cross cutting, the other one for rips, metal and all that stuff. So they make it very easy to switch out these tools, these blades, you know what I mean, these blades. But the blade is a tool within a tool, so yes, let's just go with it. All right, let's switch gears. I'm gonna set this on the table and we're gonna look at it from the top down. Whew, it's a heavy thing. All right, so I'm actually gonna keep this one. This one is damaged, so it's on the safety side. You need to be careful whenever you're using this. So the blades, they look fairly even, but they're not. This tooth is actually smaller than this one. It looks a little bit different all around. This one caught the edge of the guide. That piece got embedded, nearly ripped off my fingers, but that's one of the built-in features. It has an anti-kick feature. This one, it kicked back somehow. I was not using it wisely and that got caught. That piece broke off. And yeah, anyway, more about that later. So I'm gonna hang on to this. This is where we're gonna be swapping into the saw and taking out the one for rips. This one's for cross cutting. Actually, I might actually have that wrong. This one is for rips because you're not going against the grain, you're going along the grain, so you need less teeth to actually cut through that. It makes it easier. The finer tooth one that's marked yellow is for cross cuts. This one's for ripping. All right, switching focus. This is essentially everything that you need to operate the saw. You need a blade, you need the power. This is what plugs into the machine. This is what goes into the wall. I'm sure you know that. But since we're talking about it, let's just go with that. All right, we got your blade. Okay. Now, I'm gonna pop this guy off. We're gonna pretend this does not exist, at least for now. And this is how you're gonna get it out of the box. And you're gonna be like, I know I probably need some sort of Allen key or Allen wrench or something to get in there, but as it is, I have no access to it. Therein lies the beauty of Festool. So what you need to do is don't hit the table so much and your camera won't be so shaky. I should really get a charger for this thing. Anyway. Alright, so we have our tools laid out here. This, remember, does not exist right now, so amazing tool from Toolcurve, not Toolcraft, Toolcurve, but we're gonna set that on the side here because when you buy this Festool track saw, the TS55 right now, but might be TS60, TS65 now. But anyway, got our blade. One of the things that, first of all, as you can see, this guy is not plugged in and is not plugged in for a reason. If you ever decide to switch out the blades on this thing, please yank this out of the wall. If it is plugged in, yank it out of the wall. Turn off the power source, yank it out of this, yank this out of the machine, whatever it is you choose to do. Just unplug this, make sure there's no power running. You can even pull the trigger just to make sure it doesn't. And in activating it, you push this up like most circular saws. Push this up and pull this trigger. It will not pull without this being pushed up. Safety feature, so safety all around. Perfect. That's out of the way. All right, now, as I was saying, I'm trying to get this blade to come down or whatever to get this thing out. Here's what you do. This thing has some give. If you pull it this way, hug your machine that way, pull this, and you can lift it up, lift it down, bottom that thing out, and pull this out. That does a few things. So one, it pushes this trigger forward a little and it locks it in place. If you pay close attention right here, that metal piece is moving to lock the rotation of the blade so it doesn't spin on you. You can spin it freely, but once this is engaged, it spins probably like a quarter turn, not a quarter turn, probably like a quarter of an inch, maybe an inch, and then it locks. This is how thick your material is. If it's at 0, you're not cutting squat, because push this trigger and you try to bring it down, it's gonna sit pretty much flush with the bottom of the blade and you're not gonna cut anything. Now, I am trying to get the hex in this windows to display because if I push this down, I can see it perfectly in the window over there. I'm trying to get it to stay. How to get it to stay is to pull this, it says fast fix, pull that out completely. It's gonna lock your trigger. It's a safety feature. It's gonna lock this in place, it's gonna lock your trigger. It's pretty much immobilized, you can't really do much. What you're gonna do is, you're gonna either pull the bottom up or push the handle down all the way until you're gonna hear a click. It's a very audible click. Once it hits, your hex bolt is in the window, and you can't do a whole lot. You can force it and probably break it, but then again, you don't want to do that. So that's in the window right now. I have access to my blade teeth. Be careful. Don't take it and just draw it on yourself. You're gonna hurt yourself. But the purpose of this is you have the hex in the window and you can proceed to step 2, step 3. Here, let's get these cables out of the way. All right. See, that's how these things happen. Hold on to your tools. Okay, so with the Festool, you will have one of these. It's a hex key, or an Allen key hex key. It's embedded into the handle, and this tool is standard for almost all Festools. This is something very similar, same size and everything, but it's just not it. Festools is at least twice as long. You can get these, you can run away with it. That'll fit perfectly. If you have spares around, that's perfectly fine. I think it's a 5mm. If you have spares around, that's perfectly fine. This is the one that comes with Festool. The spare will work. It'll even fit in here, but you don't have a whole lot to grab when you're trying to get it out. So stick with Festools. If you have something of the same size, fine. Keep it around, keep it as a spare, just in case something happens to this. Okay. Now remember, this blade is locked. See, quarter turn. This is locked right now. and it even shows you the direction. But if this is covered so much that you can't see it, just go with the righty-tighty, lefty-loosey concept. Pull it up. It doesn't work. All right, let's try down. Down worked. So lefty-loosey. Yep. Like this, it turns to the left. That's lefty-loosey. Right, righty-tighty. What I mean? All right. And once it's out a little bit, you can just go freehand, take it out, and take that's the bolt, not the nut, the fastener, holder, whatever it's called. Keep these guys. If you can get spares, get them. Chances are you might lose one of these somewhere along the line. It's totally fine. Take out our blade. This is the crosscut blade, and we're putting in a rip. And look at the arrow on the blade. It coincides with the arrow on the machine. This arrow goes that way. The arrow on the blade should go that way. Put it in, sit that. Put in the holder. I'm sure it has a better name for it, but I just don't remember it right now. Tighten everything down. And remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Now we're going to go right to tight. Alright, until you can, not too tight, but until you can. Put this back here every single time that you're done using it. Put that there, and when you're done, push that back, and voila. You're ready. You're ready and set to go off to the races. You can put this back now, it exists. If you don't have it, don't worry about it, you're just gonna have a hole here. I do suggest you get it though, it helps in your dust management. Stick that there. Find the depth of your material. Let's say you want to cut this guy. It's let's pretend it's a 1 by whatever piece of wood. You set that on the bottom. You bring this. Well, this you can keep that here, but you do need like 3 hands if you're trying to do this sideways. Otherwise, you set it on top of your material, you push this trigger forward, and then you can depress your saw. And this is what it's gonna look like as the teeth come out. That's what it looks like. So, I'm gonna do this upside down and try to do this as elegantly upside down as I can. So that's about there, and that's where you need your tabletop. So hopefully you can see that. This is your material, not the AirPods. I'm not cutting AirPods, but this material, I have to set this down on the table. I'm gonna push this up, look at all the mechanisms that are lifting and shifting, push this up, depress the saw down until it touches it goes right past the bottom of the material, and this is where you come back and hug your blade. You pull this. Here, let's show it this way. This is down here. All right. So you pull this after your blade touches the bottom. You pull this up, bring it all the way up until it hits the stopper. Hit the stopper here, and go down just 1 notch. That way you're cutting the material all the way through and just going a hair into the sacrificial board that you have underneath it. And the boards that we put on top of our MFT, the plywoods and all that, those are called sacrificial boards, just because we cut into them, we dissect them, we destroy them. When we're done, we toss them, we put another one on. So this will set the depth of your material, and this is what it looks like. It's going to look like in the saw. You have your material here, 1 inch, 2 inches, whatever. That sits there, and your blade just goes past it by a hair. In this case, it's a little bit more than a hair, but a hair nonetheless. All right, so that concludes today's demonstration of exactly how to switch out your blade on your Festool track saw. That will, you can use that for other track saws, same concept, but definitely follow their guidelines, follow their manuals, follow their electrical requirements, If it's battery operated, pop out all the batteries, turn it off completely, and then you can start lifting and shifting and moving things around to get to hex bolts and stuff like that. So that concludes this. Thank you for watching, and definitely share this, subscribe, leave comments. Please leave comments because I like that conversation. So at least for now, we're done with this saw. I need to build some cabinets for the garage. Until I get started, I'm gonna pack this guy away, and we're actually gonna follow the guidelines that, you know, are laid out on the placard over here. Now, as you can see, you have your saw that goes into the bottom, like so. You have clamps that just go top and bottom, and everything fits like a glove. So that's just gonna sit in like that. Now, our saw. See how that fits in there on the bottom, fits in like there. All right, power cord, just loop it around a few times, lay it in like so, and the extra saws just like that in the corner there. Close it, and it could go left or right as far as the locking mechanism goes. Go there, it's locked. The bottom, if I want to set it free, flip it that way, and lift and shift. If I can get this thing to stay still, just lift it that way, and it's going to come off. But I don't need to do that right now, so I'm just going to lock it in place. And it's going to lift clean off the floor with it. All right, Festool for the win. So for now, I'm going to pack it away, and we're going to come back and show you exactly how operating it looks like. Thanks for watching.